Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hearts, and today I'll be breaking down the 3-game NBA slates we have here on DraftKings for Thursday night. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Hearts. I do daily slate breakdowns for DraftKings for both the NBA and NFL. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. We're super close to 1,000 subscribers. So if we can hit it during this video, that'd be huge. Can't thank you guys enough for that. I'll be going over my favorite spin-up plays, mid-range options, and some value plays for tomorrow's 3-game slate. Make sure to check out my free Patreon down below. Once again, it's free. I'll talk about it in the breakdown. So I'll see you guys there. Before I get into the breakdown, just want to say follow me on Twitter at HeartDFS. I'll answer any questions you guys have. Talk NBA DFS, NFL DFS. I put up my free Patreon. I'll link it to my profile. You can also find it in my link tree as well as the YouTube description below. Once again, it's 100% free. I go over just a recap of the day before, the injury news that's important. I usually put up the spreads when it's not like a 12-game slate. I put up my slate thoughts, the pay-ups I like, building blocks, and value options. And yesterday was great. You know, Bryant, Reeves, Kuminga, KD, Poole. Obviously, Poole, Kuminga, and Bryant were all very chalky. I'm surprised Reeves wasn't more chalky. Obviously, I think he came off the bench, which, you know, the Lakers and the Warriors, they did such random starting lineups. But KD was super low owned. Yeah, it was very solid. My honorable pay up mentions, they are all great too. Halliburton had, I think, 60. Porzingis had like, I think 45, if not close to that. Edwards had 57. He went for like 15 steals. And Irving was, I think he was the best player on the slate besides Randall with like 61 fantasy points. So yeah, make sure to check it out. Once again, it's 100% free. If you want to be a patron, you know, I think it's like a $5 pledge. I didn't set that. I think that's just what Patreon makes you do. But yeah, it's once again, it's free if you just want to view it. But if you do want to be, join it, feel free to. And yeah, thank you guys for that. And I will now get into the lineup breakdown. I did 2 lineups. I ended up making my money back on the night, so nothing special. But this one I talked about in my write-up. However, like Ja and KD is my favorite spin-ups to pair with all that value we got tonight. So Ja was fantastic. Surprised he wasn't more low owned with all the value and like pay up options. Really surprised he wasn't at least 20+%. Poole, obviously, fantastic, 63%. KD, low owned. He was super close to a triple double. That would have really helped out. Wish that happened, but oh well. Kuminga. Now, the whole DFS world is up in arms about this Kuminga play. Obviously, when he wasn't starting, he became a lot riskier of a play. I think he went from like a great play to more of like an okay play with a lot of risk. The way I structured my lineup, I really had no options to get off of him. I was pretty much stuck to him, Poole, Lamb, and that was really it because all the other games pretty much locked before then. And I also talked to my Twitter how I had Halliburton here at first. I had Halliburton, Lamb, and Pat Connaughton. And then once we got the news Kessler was going to start, really wanted to get in my lineup. In order to do that, I had to hop off Halliburton and both Halliburton and Pat Connaughton to get to keep Lamb and Kessler in there. Thought Lamb would get a little bit more run. He was super low owned. A little unfortunate there. It would have been better if I went to Pat Connaughton there and maybe kept, I think I would have been able to put at least Anthony Edwards back in here in this spot. Would have gotten like 15 more fantasy points, but the switch kind of worked out. Would have lost out. I mean, it would have gained like maybe $4 more dollars, but yeah, that was my lineup. One of the two, the better one. And then, yeah, the winning lineup in this $4, $15,000 to first was Kyrie, Poole, Rozier, Randall, Kessler, Edwards, Kuminga, and Thomas Bryant. So, yeah, just a huge high-scoring nights, almost 400, 392 took down to first. What did I get? I got 337, so not too far behind. Obviously, the Lamb and Brown plays didn't really help out. Moving on to this 3-game slate. We have the Clippers versus Miami, Houston versus the Spurs, and Denver versus Portland. For the Clippers, we got news that Paul George is going to play. I think he played above 30 minutes tonight. Back-to-back for him. Maybe there's news that he's limited. If not, really like Paul George there at 9,200 against the Heat. He'll be a very solid, not pay-up option. I don't think there's a ton of pay options on this slate. Not really much pay up options in terms of like pay ups. Jokic is that standalone pay up option. But yeah, I do like Paul George, good amount. He's usually pretty low owned. People just don't like playing him. But yeah, if he's going to see more than 30 minutes, no minutes limit, do like him there. 9,200. He's coming off a night where he started off very hot and then really cooled off. So they don't have it uploaded yet, but he did play more than 30 minutes. Kawhi was still under 30 minutes. We'll have to see if he plays tomorrow. May rest him. So if he's out, Paul George looks even better. Zubac, he looks just contrarian there at 6,500. John Wall, more senior. Powell and Luke Kennard all may be back. If they are, my favorite would maybe be Luke Kennard at value. He was seen around 20-ish, maybe closer to 25. He's an okay point per minute guy. Don't feel great about that. But yeah, I mean, if everyone's back and Kawhi's out, I just really have, only interest in Paul George, maybe a little bit of Zubac. He does have a ceiling at times, even in this tough matchup against Bam. I mean, Wall's there. His price is just pretty high. He's not seen a ton of minutes. He can get you there, but you really need him to have like a ceiling type game when it comes to like either points, assists, or rebounds, or even steals to really get you there in like 25 minutes. At 5,900, not the best price point. Reggie Jackson's price point came up as well. So yeah, not a ton of interest on these guys. Man had a huge game tonight. Maybe you could look to him at 5,300. He's not a terrible play there. Powell's always, super hot and cold. I mean, it's really just kind of Luke for me as of right now and Paul George until we get more news on that Clippers side. For Miami, we have Jimmy, 8,600. He is questionable to play for tomorrow due to conditioning. So if he's in, I think it's just more of a contrarian play there at 8,600. The price point's kind of high. People are not going to want to play him. Maybe he won't see 30 minutes. We'll have to see. But yeah, he'd just be kind of a contrarian play. If he's out, I think Bam and Hero and Lowry all look great once again. Bam, a little pricey there at 8,400. I wouldn't say it's a necessity to play him, but I mean, he's seen a ton of minutes. So, and they're running the ball through him as well. And Tyler Hero, it's, he's leading the team. Bam and Lowry are the secondary pieces, with Bam a little bit of above Kyle Lowry in terms of offense. But yeah, I mean, you've seen what Hero's done the past 5 games, 45, 44, 43, 50, 49. Shooting the ball very, very well too, for most of the games, the past 3 or 4 especially. But yeah, he's massive upside. He's doing very well when it comes to the peripheral stats, shooting the ball well. So yeah, really like him there at 7,700. Kyle Lowry, I think he looks solid. He did have 5 steals that really helped him out in that last game. Didn't shoot the ball a ton. Also, the game did blow out, so they didn't really need him to. Kyle Lowry was kind of Tyler Hero was kind of leading the team. Strus is a viable tournament option. Should see close to 30 minutes. Going to go out there and mostly shoot threes. He can get you a couple of rebounds, so don't mind taking a shot on there in a tournament setting. Caleb Martin, I mean, I guess you can. He does have some upside if he's hitting his threes, but you really need multiple pieces out for Caleb Martin to kind of get those other peripheral stats to do well. Victor Oladipo, he saw 19 minutes. I think he's still going to be on a minutes limit for a while, so I'd assume maybe 20. So don't think you need to go there. Highsmith, he played 28 minutes, did horrendous. So if Jimmy's out, I don't mind running it back with Highsmith, 3,500. It depends on his ownership. He was pretty high owned, like 30% in that slate the other day. Obviously, he was terrible. But, if people are going to jump off that, you could definitely go back to him if he's, 15% or lower at 3,500. He does have a little bit of a ceiling. As you can see, he can get you 20 fantasy points, and that's good enough at 3,500. But what to see with the Jimmy news? Jovic played only 9 minutes. So yeah, they're just running their starters a ton. Duncan only saw 15. So yeah, it's just pretty much just the kind of the starters for me. Moving on to Houston and San Antonio. Houston, all these Houston guys look way too cheap. I think the whole Spurs team is out as well. So this is looking like the best game environment to stack. KPJ is too cheap there. Same with Jalen Green. Same with Sengun. Dropped all the way down to 5,800. He's not been great the past 3 games. We know he has a huge ceiling, 65 against OKC. So I love all 3 of them. Jamari Smith, he's actually been very solid at threes, as you can see. He's been like 50% or better the past 2 weeks. So I don't mind going to him at 5,000. He does offer some upside. And with his 3-point shooting recently, do like riding a hot streak there. In terms of the other guys, I mean, Tari Eason's always a solid point per minute guy, but it just comes down to minutes. Same thing with KJ Martin. They're very hot and cold when it comes to getting enough minutes to be good enough. I mean, Tari's pretty much been 15 to 20. KJ's been in between like 15 to 30 if he's starting. So they're not a priority right now, unless we get some like news that someone may be resting, but don't think we will. Eric Gordon is always there as a tournament option. He did play 40 minutes against Philly, which is wild to see. I only got 26 fantasy points, but yeah, he's playable, and that's about it. Bruno Fernando played a little bit as a backup center, I guess, so you could look to him. But yeah, do think those Houston guys are way too cheap. And the Spurs side, same thing. Keldon Johnson looking like a fantastic play there. Vassell is questionable. It looks like he's doubtful. So if we're going to get Keldon Johnson leading this team, do think you want to go to him. Podol's out. So we'll get Trey Jones. He looks very solid at 6,400. Not always my favorite play because he's not the best scorer, but he should look to score more. Does have that double-double upside with assists. So yeah, I think he's a little bit too cheap there. Zach Collins is a little bit too cheap. The minutes are kind of limited in terms of him. You know, he's very, very foul prone, as you can see, 5, 6, and 5. You know, Sengun's not really going to get in foul trouble, but we'll have to see. But yeah, he's very foul prone at 5,100. Don't think he's a must play, but he does have a huge ceiling because he's a very solid point per minute guy. Diep's out. Jeremy's out. Josh Richardson, I think, is probable, so maybe he slides in the starting lineup. But yeah, I really like whoever they start. I'm assuming it's going to be Keldon, Trey, Zach, Josh, and maybe McDermott. So I think they're all viable, all look very solid. Bassey coming off the bench should see 20-ish minutes. He's a solid point per minute guy. If Collins gets foul trouble, Bassey should see a little bit more. They'll dust off Isaiah Roby. Branham got some minutes as well the past few games. Romeo should be good. I'm assuming maybe they'll start him as well. Not the best player, but he could definitely get you there. I mean, they're all super cheap, so a lot of value is going to come from that Spurs side. And then Denver and Portland, I'm assuming Jokic will be very popular just because with how much value is opening up on the slate. It's going to be very easy to get to the top 3 pay-up options of him, Dame, and Paul George. But yeah, Jokic looks fantastic, 11-3. He's burned me the past 3 times I played him. It was when he got 50 here against Houston, or I think it was right here, 59. It didn't really help me. It was okay. Obviously, you can't really complain about 60, but it wasn't like it was slate breaking. He was also 11-4. Played him again against Houston at 50, and then I played him against Atlanta 52, and then 41 against Dallas. Didn't get that game against the Pelicans in there, so hasn't been the best for me, but 11-3 going against Portland. He looks fantastic. Really like Jamal Murray as well. A little bit of a down game there. Before that, he had 18 or more in like 5-6 straight games. So yeah, he's kind of almost back to normal. He does have a huge ceiling if he's on fire. So yeah, do like him a good amount. Aaron Gordon coming off a massive game. You can chase it if you want. You know, he's been shooting the ball the past 3 games very, very well. I just don't think there's a need. 6,300, he's kind of priced about right. Same thing with Bruce Brown. Does have a ceiling, but kind of seems priced about right. Porter's out, so obviously Bruce Brown's going to start. Bones Highland, you know, he does have that upside. It's just the minutes are all over the place. I think people were struggling, so they did need Bones off the bench, and he was providing the spark, so he got a little bit more run than usual, but he was kind of floating around 15 to 25, so you can take a shot there at 5,600. It's just not the best price point to do that. KCP 4,200, coming off a decent game for his standards on the Denver Nuggets, so you could look to him. And then Jeff Green, you know, going to see about 15 to 20 minutes off the bench unless someone gets in foul trouble. 3,300. You know, he can't get close to 20 fantasy points if he's having a solid game, but don't mind it. Kankar is like the 6th man off the bench right now, but he's only playing like a few minutes. I mean, the value just doesn't look great. There's a DMP for Ish Smith. So yeah, I just don't really think he needs to get to those value pieces on the Nuggets side. Just kind of stick with the Spurs. And then for Portland, love Dame. Simons, I think he's great as well. You know, it does have a limited ceiling playing alongside Dame, but you could definitely land on him if you want to get a little bit different. Grant's a little bit too pricey with Dame and Simons, you know, playing together. His price should drop down. Nurkic, just kind of there for me. You know, he's been solid recently, but going against Jokic, obviously you don't love that. You can play him as a contrarian play. If Hart's in, he looks decent at 6,100. You know, he's a guy who's going to do a little bit of everything, kind of like a Bruce Brown. So kind of there for me. Not a lot I love on the side besides Dame. You know, Winslow's going to see about 25 minutes off the bench. So he looks okay. You know, the price is kind of up on him still. Watford should see about 15 to 22-ish minutes as, you know, the backup power forward or center because Eubanks might not be back. If Eubanks is back, don't mind taking a shot on him. You know, he should see around 15-ish minutes in a competitive game if Nurkic doesn't get foul trouble. If Nurkic does, which, you know, could be a possibility, you know, Eubanks is a very solid point per minute guy, so you can definitely take a shot on him. That's really it. You know, Sharp not really doing much off the bench, you know, about 20-ish minutes. But yeah, that is kind of the slate breakdown. Pretty quick little 3-gamer there. In terms of core plays, or I guess who I'm leaning towards, obviously 3-game slate, everyone's going to be pretty high owned, especially with all that value in that Houston Spurs game. But really like Jokic there. We'll go to this game. I really like Sengun, KPJ, and it's pretty chalky, I know, but then we can get different with value, or we can go to Paul George. We'll have to wait for the news tomorrow. But yeah, really liking as of right now, KPJ, Keldon, Sengun, and Jokic. So if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like button once again. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.